Hello my fellow Narnians, welcome back to Narnia Lore. Today we are addressing yet another elephant in the room. Prince Caspian, the movie. When Prince Caspian first released back in 2008, there was tons of controversy surrounding it. And as with all movies, some fans loved it, some hated it, and some were indifferent about it. Some people didn't like the Susan Caspian romance, some people did. I hated it at first because I wanted to marry Susan myself, but what adolescent fanboy didn't? Some people said that the story was all wrong, and although it does look like that at first glance, I can actually prove to you that the book and the movie timelines are almost identical. The fact of the matter is that the movie timeline is only slightly behind the book's timeline. How do I come to this conclusion, you ask? Well, for starters, look at when the Pevensies met Caspian. When they met him in the movie, he was taking his army to Aslan's Howl. In the book, they met him during the Sorcery and Sudden Vengeance scene. In fact, the scene where the Narnians attack Miraz's castle, that was the point in the book when Trumpkin said, that morning Caspian had arranged his biggest battle yet, but it all failed. Now that's not the entire quote, but it's plain enough to see the similarities there. Another major factor that changes very subtle details in the movies, Prince Caspian notwithstanding, is the fact that the main characters are much older than their novel counterparts. In the book, Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, Peter is actually 13, Susan is 12, Edmund is 10, and Lucy is 8. In the movie, however, Peter is actually 17, Susan 16, Edmund 13, and Lucy is 9. At least that's how old the actors were when the movie was being filmed, so Prince Caspian, however, being a year later, chronologically, the ages in the books are 14, 13, 11, and 10, respectively. However, in the movie, the actors are actually 20, 19, 16, and 12. I think that Andrew Adamson wanted to showcase the Pevensies' leadership abilities, hence them being a little bit older and all that. And it was a little more believable that they were kings and queens, since they were older, not just, adolescent teenagers, aside from Edmund and Lucy, but anyway, that's not the point. And what eventually happened was that it came to show that Peter had become too cocky. So in summary, the only major changes that happened in the movie was that the Pevensies are only a few years older than in the book. They met Caspian a little earlier in the timeline, and they expounded on a pre-existing battle. Now I do realize that there are many more subtle differences, one of them being Glozell was actually a Telmarine lord in the book, not just a general. Why they changed that, I will never know, but they did. Now another thing that always kind of bugged me was that Caspian never got the dwarf-made sword like he did in the book, but I don't know, maybe that's just me being picky. I could pick the movies, all three movies apart all day, but that really wouldn't get us anywhere. On a whole, however, the movie really isn't that much different from the book, and in my opinion, actually quite enjoyable. Now, granted, I would have done it differently, but I think everyone has their own style and take on these sorts of things, and that was just the style and take Andrew Adamson had on it. And as I said earlier, we could spend forever arguing the merits of the movies versus the books and everything. And I do think that Andrew Adamson did take a little bit of advantage with Prince Caspian in sort of assuming that everybody had seen the first movie. Granted, you kind of do want to see them in order because that helps, but it does a lot of things in Prince Caspian you wouldn't get unless you had seen Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe first. Now, I had actually, for years, I never knew that there were two other movies. I just thought there was Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. I didn't see Voyage of the Dawn Treader until 2016. I didn't even know it existed. So I'd actually seen Voyage of the Dawn Treader. No, that was back in 2015. Anyway, that's not my point. But I'd seen Voyage of the Dawn Treader first, actually. So I'd seen Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, Voyage of the Dawn Treader, then Prince Caspian, because that's just what order the library got the movie to me. Yes, I still use the library. Anyway. But yeah, it was odd because there was some stuff in Voyage of the Dawn Treader that I hadn't seen from Prince Caspian, and so I was like, what the heck, why did they do that? And then when I saw Prince Caspian, I was like, oh. Now I knew the whole thing about the flashlight.
I left my new torch in Narnia.
Because that was in the book. But anyway, let me know what you guys think. do you like Prince Caspian the movie? I mean, I think it's enjoyable. I like it. Anyway, I think we've discussed all there is to discuss on this. Let me know if you guys would like to see a more detailed breakdown of the Prince Caspian movie, because I think that would be really interesting. In fact, I'd actually be happy to do a breakdown of all three movies if you guys would like. But as always, please leave your thoughts in the comments down below and I'll get to them as soon as I can. If you are new to the channel, please do consider subscribing, and also make sure to hit that like button, as it really does help out the channel. Until next time, my dear friends, this has been Narnia Lore.